What's up, guys? It's your boy Femi, and welcome to Small Chat Presents GroupChat. This is where we have much needed discourse with friends and family and listeners. Think of it as a special edition where we get to focus on discussion points and discuss with our moderators and guest panelists. So today we're talking to Black fathers. Even though I'm not one myself yet, I do hope to be a father one day. So I'll be trying to chip in with a little bit of experience I have on not being a father, but I've got three experts in fatherhood. Joining us today, we have three Black fathers, and we'd like to gain instruction from them. So from my left to right, if you'd like to introduce yourself.
I'm Delwboy, father of two girls, twin girls.
And what do you do now as well, sorry?
I'm a content creator and a user experience designer.
Yes, nice to meet you, Delwboy.
My name is Sodiq. I've got two kids, a boy and a girl, and I do events.
Nice.
And I'm Yusuf. I have three kids. The younger two are twins as well. And I am a clinical services manager.
Wow, some top guys here. Today's topic is going to be our Black fathers, absentee fathers. Ooh. I saw a lot of side eyes, but hey. So yeah, there's a stereotype around Black fathers not being present. And I think like most of you guys, you probably have lots of friends who are Black fathers. Obviously, you guys are Black fathers as well. And you guys are fighting the fight and doing your bit. But when we look in the media and on TV, there's this stigma or stereotype that Black fathers aren't present. And obviously, don't want to overdo it for being a parent, because I think that's the basic around being a father. Unfortunately, not everyone follows those principles. But I think for today, it would be good to have like a deep dive into the challenges that fathers have, especially for me. I should be interested to discuss it with British-born fathers, because a lot of us have parents who are either from the Caribbean or from Nigeria who have the culture instilled in them, and that dictates how they parent. But it would be nice to have a conversation with you guys on the challenges that you face on parenting in the UK. So guys, let's do up small chat. Let's go. I was a bit weird doing it by myself. I was gonna say backup singers, but no, I need my partner. So yeah, look, it's a deep dive into parenting, and I'm gonna just go straight into it. I think you guys already given us an intro about yourselves and how many kids you have. But again, just to remind the audience, how many kids you have and what are the age ranges of the kids that you have?
Yeah, cool. So I have two girls, twin girls. They are 5 years old.
Nice. My face just lit up because he has twin girls, and obviously, as you know, I'm a twin as well, and my sister's a twin, so I'm pretty sure I'll be asking those young questions.
Yeah.
As well.
Two kids, a boy and a girl, 12 and 11.
Wow.
Secondary school.
So what about you?
Yeah, so I have three kids. My firstborn is 6 and the twins are 5.
Twins as well?
Yeah.
You might have to sort of seize this. I'm joking with you guys, but obviously you guys had kids for quite some time, but when did you actually feel like an actual father? Was it at the moment when you got the late text, or was it the delivery room, 5 years old? How does it actually feel? When does it actually click in terms of actually feeling like a father?
Whoa, I don't even know if it clicked or when, or if there was like a particular moment when it clicked, to be honest with you. We knew that we wanted kids, so there was that, and I'll go into how I ended up having kids, because it's probably slightly different than everybody else. But I feel like it just developed because I had like an early kind of stage in wanting kids and all of that stuff, and there was a lot of talk around it. I think maybe subconsciously I kind of clicked on from then, and then it kind of developed. But it was during lockdown as well. Like, they were born during lockdown, so there was a whole madness on that.
Well, yeah, you headed to you as well. What about yourself?
Oh, I was just living my best life. That's all I was doing, living my best life. I don't think it really clicked, because even with my son, I feel like even once he got to a certain age, I had to carry him. He was more like my mini-me. He used to just roll with me. I think it was more later where you have to start reading books with them, start sitting down, doing homework with them. And then I was like, oh, I'm a dad now. My whole personal life's just slow down. I don't think so. I think during the part where they start have to teach them how to potty train and stuff like that, that's when my life calmed down. I thought, oh, it's no more about me, it's more about them.
Does that happen immediately, like the shift in thinking around, like, okay, before it was just me, but now I have to actually...
No, I don't really think so, because it depends. If you're planning kids, then you're going to be in more of a position for you to feel like, okay, I'm getting ready to be a dad. When it's just...
Yeah, but I still think that it's like, it's a continuous thing as
Yeah.
well. It's like you're not just, oh, I'm a father now and this is all I need to know and everything I will ever need to know. Like you're gonna continuously learn, continuously have new challenges, and continuously feel like you're facing new things. Like I don't think that there maybe was one point. Like it's all changing.
And definitely just to add on to what Delwboy was saying too, the fact of where the area we grew up in is a whole different area. So even though you might think, I know it because I've been there before, it's a whole different world. Because sometimes I'm like, obviously as coming up from a Nigerian household, if there's a problem or something, it's like, move on. Now if you tell them now, you're thinking like with my son, sometimes I tell him that it's a big world and being a man is hard. And then sometimes I'll be like crying, I'll be thinking, why are you crying for? Because in my head, I'm like, when we were younger, you had to cry for a reason. But now you have to be like, okay, are you alright? Emotionally alright? Everything and so forth. So as Delwboy said, it's always learning and adapting too.
I agree. I say from my perspective as well, especially having a son. My son is very emotional, and it's finding a balance between. He's one of the twins, so he's very emotional. So it's finding a balance between be brave, but also showing your emotion at the same time. And in terms of when being a parent actually kicked in, for me it was when I saw the heartbeat, because my firstborn, I'm not gonna, obviously I love her to death. She was ordained, she was planned to come, but she was an instance where I just didn't pull out. It was just one of those things. It wasn't planned. I got at the time I got offered the job in Abu Dhabi. So my wife at the time, we was planning to move to Abu Dhabi to start a new life, and all of a sudden we found out that we was having a child. And for me, it was very important for me to be in my child's life. So me moving to Abu Dhabi and her staying in London wasn't one of those things. And at the time, she didn't want to move to Abu Dhabi and be her first child, not be around her mom or be around her friends. So, but then the moment I saw that heartbeat, it just made it very, very real. The twins, on the other hand, I feel like even after I saw the heartbeat, it didn't come real until the bump started coming bigger. That was mainly because having twins was always one of those things I joked about. This is like, oh yeah, God, I'm going to have my first child and I'm going to have twins, triplets, a boy and a girl. When the twins came, I said, okay, about the triplets, yeah, you need to reel that in. So it was one of those things that developed over time.
You mentioned something that you said you wanted to deliberately be active in your kid's life. Like, why do you think that is? Did you grow up with your parents still together or not?
No, so how do I keep this respectful? So my dad was present, but he was also absent at the same time. So even when he was around in the home, he was absent-minded. So there were, even the times when they were together, he wasn't really there, and then there was moments on end where he would just be out of the house. So it's very important for me to have the relationship I had with my mum, with my kids as well, from a father's perspective. So it's very important to me that I was present.
Mm-hmm. Similar question to you: were your parents still together, and did you have an example of your?
No. My dad's got kids different places, but he moved to Nigeria when we was like primary school. Yeah, so he moved to Nigeria in primary school. So even the fact of like him moving to Nigeria, we're all in touch, but him moving to Nigeria, it's like you have to figure yourself out as a man. Even though my mums were always there, but you have to figure yourself out as a man, because a woman can't actually teach a boy how to be a man.
Yeah.
So you have to figure out the man, then you have to unlearn some stuff, because it's boys teaching boys how to be men. And we're all just fronting to each other, acting like we know, but we really don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So that was a difficult thing, because it's like, I know how to be a son, but to be a father now, it's like, where are you really drawing the branches from and stuff like that. So I figured it out on my way, and I'm still learning, and I get wrong a lot of the time.
Wow. My dad was in my life. Like my parents were like married from before I was born, so I've always had my dad around, and that gave me a very strong sense of what fatherhood was. But I am what's known as what's the terminology again? A known donor. So it's slightly different. That's also my thing. It's slightly different, yeah. So a friend of mine that we grew up with, she got married to a woman, and then they needed the kids, and then I donated to them, and with the idea that I would be present inside the kids' life, and they'll know who I am, and know them as their father, and know my family, etc. So for me, it was about balancing. Like, I knew what my father was to me and how he was in my life, but I knew it was going to be slightly different with these lot because I wasn't their breadwinner. I wasn't in that household like that. So I had to learn in a different way of like how to slightly step back and allow the mums to actually take control and to do what they need to do, while still being a father and still feeling like I am something to them, like how my dad was to me.
Are you from Caribbean background?
I am, yeah.
What's your background?
Nigeria.
Nigerian. Because when I was doing research, I found that not obviously, when you look at it, Caribbean parents tend to not live with their kids. That's the highest percentage with Caribbean dads. But they actually spend more time actually parenting. So when it comes to African and white parents, Caribbean kids actually spend more time with their dads. Their dads are a bit more involved. Because growing up, when I saw my Jamaican friends, yeah, the dads may not be with the mum, but their dads was at every football match. Their dads was going to go and get food afterwards. Whereas on the flip side, I grew up with my dad, my parents are still together, but he wasn't as involved as a Jamaican. So it's just quite interesting to see, because I can tell with you now, you're a donor, but you still want to be involved in that, which is, I guess, credit to you and your dad.
Yeah.
And how you've been brought up as well. So, do you want more kids?
Yeah, if I get married, I want twin boys and another girl.
Eh?
Wow. Why twins?
I always wanted twins from a young age. So yeah, but yeah, twin boys. I've always wanted twins from a young age. But I've also, my two kids, they all live with me, so it's a different experience. I pick them up and everything.
Right.
The whole parent experience, like your kids wake up in the morning.
It's not the same when the kids don't live with you.
Yeah, it's
I
not the
understand
same.
that.
So yeah, so 5 kids is, I mean, all kudos to you. But I would say I've experienced both. So when my ex and I were together, I did experience that, the kids living with you, and I am now experiencing the kids not being with me. And there is a contrast difference. I think what you then long for is the random moments. It's when you're sleeping, everybody's in bed, and then one child crawls into your bed. It can be annoying, but you kind of miss it when you don't have it, or it's just like, that someone comes into your bed and says, I had a bad dream, and they want to stay in your bed till the morning. So those are the little in-betweens that you miss out on, figuratively speaking. But yeah,
And it's in those moments where like connection is built, though.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's where like it's like, yeah, you see that it's great for the moms to be able to have that connection. No, it's not like I'm trying to take away their connection, but you can want it too as a dad. You can want that connection with a child for them to be able to turn to you to stuff, and then when they grow up, they know it was you that helped them through those kind of things.
Why do you think it's overlooked, that bond with the dad? Because it's like no one really rates that connection, and there obviously is a desire for us to be emotionally connected with kids, but it's overlooked in the media. Because when you were just saying like you missed that, I'm pretty sure outsiders be like, well, why would you want to miss that? Like, why do you think people overlook?
I think one of the reasons is because, as society says, a macho man has no feelings, no different thing. And I also feel like it's harder because a woman actually builds the bond from the stomach.
Mm-hmm.
So even when you think about when the child first comes out, the woman has to put the child on her chest. So even though a baby can't see in the first 6 months or whatever it is, but they know the scent of their mum. So it's like when they're with their mum, they'll know where their mum is and everything. Yeah. So why a guy has to wait until the child comes out, then really when children first come out of the womb, they're not really trying to get everybody touching them except for their mum. Then you have to build, and I also feel like it's you build your connection later on, while mum's already ahead of you scientifically. everything. So, and sometimes you also being depending if you're the one who's the punisher or the telling off person, because that plays a big role in it. Like if you're more like you're the dad now and then you're the one like, nah, stop this, that makes the child think, oh, he's a bit cruel or something like, no, right, it's not cruel.
Yeah.
By females, not all females, but females are more gentle and they might be thinking, oh, it's funny.
Yeah, and we have to remember we're taller, we're bigger, voices are deeper, all of this stuff like can come across a bit intimidating to a child as well. And like, so we could say the exact same words that the mum said, well then now it sounds like it's a scary thing and more this big bad evil thing that's coming around.
It's true, because growing up, it was always when your dad gets one, we will see. It's always never when your mum. Bring mum.
And you know what's so funny, sorry to interrupt you, is the fact of when the mums had enough, they'll be like, you're going to your dad, or I'm going to call your dad to tell you off. So that also brings more, like,
Don't help it.
yeah, it doesn't help the situation at all.
That's really interesting. So, because after I think about myself as well, because as you were talking, I feel you said, I presume not all of you are staying with your current partners. So during that space away, how hard is it, or how easy is it to be demotivated? Because I can imagine some people who aren't not actively, but who don't get the chance to live with their kids day in, day out, there surely must be some down periods where you're like, oh, I wish I could be involved. But what do you do to counter that negativity, like to just keep you motivated? Because some guys just go for the milk and don't come back, but you guys are still there despite all the different feelings of around, I'm not really present.
Love, but I think the thing though that you said was more so interesting. You said loads of guys don't, they take the milk and don't go away. I think that's a bad stereotype. That isn't even really that true anymore. I think, well, if we go back to like late 20th century, it's all like 1999, those years, and maybe early 2000s, there was like a mass incarceration with black men, loads of economic struggles, and all of this stuff took black men out of the household and then started to give the stereotype of black men are not home, there's just single black women all by themselves. And we know as British people, like American culture was very strong over there, especially in that time, TV and all of those kind of things there. So all we ended up hearing was that black men are not inside these households. And although times have changed like massively, loads of black men out. Every black father except for one, and I know many, every black father except for one is not involved. And I don't even know him like that. I just know him through the mum, like is involved in the life. I don't think it's true like that. But time changes, but stereotypes just hold on and words just hold on. And I think it's just really important that we don't stress that fact that, that people are taking the milk. I think that's just not the right way to go.
Yeah, I think that's a much better way to put it, because like you said, a lot of your parents are actually very involved, and I mean the three of you guys are involved even despite not even actually still being with your partner, so credit to you guys as well.
There's plenty of guys that are fighting to get inside the lives of their kids.
Yeah, even off of the back of that, I would say for me the reason it's not even about being demotivated. I feel like with kids it boils down to two things. You either see them as something to live for or something to die for, and that regardless of which route you go down with, there's still the parity. Do you know what I'm saying? So because they're the parity, you're going to do whatever it is to be there for them. So yeah, they're always going to be the pinnacle. You're always going to put them first, and that's back to what you were saying in terms of dads that are fighting to be in their children's lives. I would say don't give up, because when my ex and I went through a tricky period where I weren't seeing my kids, I was open to do whatever it took to be back in their lives. But then you have to be careful about the people you speak to, because I remember meeting up with solicitors and they're like, oh, don't worry, she'll come round. She's a woman. She'll come round. She can't eat them. She'll come round. I was just like, no, but I want to be in their lives. You know what I'm saying? So it's about doing whatever you need to do to be in their lives, even when it doesn't seem like it's something that is favoring you, for lack of better words. Even if it's expensive, even if it's time consuming, just do whatever it takes. Because when those kids are 15, 16, 17, they're going to be like, okay, yeah, mom did this, but what did you do?
They'll start ask you that question.
What did you do?
Yeah, it's true. Because even I still ask that question now that I get older. I think about my parents and the dynamic. Obviously, we're lucky to still have them together, but I know what mom did. I can see what mom did, and not a lot of people get to see what their dads do, but then sometimes dads have to be like, they're also called the unsung hero. They have to do, they can't always shine in the family. But I think for parents who don't live together, it's very difficult, and I think it's, again, credit to you guys for still standing by and sticking through to actually still want to see your kids. You said something, you said love is the reason which motivates them. Why do you think like it's more easier to love now? Because I'm still trying to compare it to the generation. I feel like your generation's where things changed.
Love is so hard.
Because you're like the 80s. Are you 80s?
Yeah, I'm 80s.
80s. I feel like that's where things changed. Before then, parenting was a bit, I don't know, I'm not going to generalize, but I think love now is a word that comes out a bit more often. I think I can see that in everything that I'm hearing from you guys as well, and that's why you're saying to fight.
Yeah, I feel like for me personally, I agree with both of their opinion, but I also feel like this ideology that there's a written book to be a parent, every child is individual. So you might have a child who might be good at exams and everything, but in the real world, they might not be so good at adapting to the real world. Or you might have a child who's good in the real world, but not good at exam. And I just feel like as a parent, you just have to deal with the child according to their needs and their strength. Because at the end of the day, we all don't have the same things. Our things are not equal. And at the same time too, even just being in a household with brothers and sisters, we see how there's big personality, small personality, and everybody's got their niche and their strong points. So I just personally like always just look at a situation from my childhood and thought, what would I like to do, but also remembering that they're not.
But do you really think that like the older generation, the dads weren't loving their kids?
No, I think their discipline and the way they were brought up is different from where we brought up,
because
because they were more like.
It's both ways. Because becoming a parent myself, I obviously understand the difficulties of being a parent. However, where my dad flopped is my mom was different in her approach, in the sense that, you know, there's some people, they'll go through difficulty with their partners, and all of a sudden it's like you can't see the kids, you can't have no contact, you can't have that. So my mom very much separated her relationship with my dad, and the relationship between us as in children and dad, and she gave him that access. He had all the access that he needed. He could pull up at any time, but he didn't make use of that. So it's almost like you had the access, but you flawed. You can't say that mom did this or mom did that because you didn't show up, kind of thing. So I would say there, in those respects, there are instances where dads are trying, but there are also instances where dads are just really, really laid back, or just literally do not care because they know that the mum's gonna handle it. So there is a potential of dads that were actually trying to be like, okay, I want to be my son's life or my children's life, but there was also a percentage of dads that was just like, oh yeah, depending on which culture they're from, it's just like, okay, cool, I mean, they're alive, so they must be okay.
So is it because it's a Nigerian culture? Because I don't really know about it, and obviously like I grew up really close with my dad, so are you saying that within the Nigerian culture of like the older generation, the dads were kind of...
It varies. It's a mixed bag. And some of our parents would have had good or bad experiences with their parents, and they would have had a decision to make. I'm going to try and do everything better than my parents, or I'm just going to just go with what I know. And some are lucky to have the parents who try to do better, and some are unfortunate to have parents who just do what they know. So I'm the dad. You must respect me no matter what. And the older I get, I don't owe you an explanation.
Or an apology.
Or an apology. You must just do what I said because I'm your dad.
No, I still had a question though. So like, although you guys are saying that it's split, I keep on hearing from like Nigerians that their dads were virtually not connected to them in some sort of way. What kind of percentage are we talking?
You see what it is, like everybody's household in the Nigerian family household is different. Some dads are actually living in the house and everything, but their own thing is to run for work, get the money, and then sleep, and then get back.
Is that not love though? In their way,
but everybody receives love in different ways.
So giving love and being loving isn't talking about like whether it's not love or not. Like,
I think this is where like communication is important, because that's what is missing with African parents and the kids, because the parents will do all these things but they don't communicate with us, so we don't actually understand. We have to make our own assumptions. So for example, in my case, I grew up with my dad. He's always been there, and growing up I wasn't sure if I felt the love from him. But then as I got older, I realized his way of showing love to me was providing a roof over my head, putting food on the table, making sure that my mom's very happy. And those are the things that you don't actually understand as a child. And for me, I would appreciate if you probably spoke to me a bit more about it, just so I can have a bit more context, because I'm seeing my mum Monday to Friday, not every day of the week, stay at home, come to every parent's evening, give me the pocket money, and dad just comes to ask me, comes to talk to me when my grades are due, you know, like, oh, how are your grades? But he's not really present. And I think that's the hard balance that a lot of, hard challenge that a lot of parents, children have in this country, especially from African parents, where the dad just thinks, I gave you the money, fry the roof, you must show me love and the respect.
Well, isn't that because in his generation something would have happened why he's thinking that this is what he needs to do in order to be good for
Yeah,
you?
and I think that's why this generation are like wiser enough to be like, oh, we've seen it and we're gonna do differently. Whereas that generation is just like,
I don't know. I think we should give them a bit more slack, really, because
I agree.
Like in the future, our kids, they're probably gonna say we've missed out on
And that's
something
why I say
because times have changed.
That's why I said
and-
they will still say something, because at the end of the day, sorry to interrupt you, at the end of the day, you're right, but I feel like grace, because even with my dad, my mom, everybody, I will give them grace, because you don't know what they will face in that situation. And then when you become a dad or something, there's always something you're going to get wrong, and your kids are going to say you didn't do it. And that's why I say love is subjective, because I can show you love the way I know how to show you love. It doesn't mean you're going to receive it as love. And communication is always going to be the key, and understanding, because if you can communicate with your child and everything, you get to it. But also, you have to meet halfway. But in order for you to find out what your kids like or what your kids feels like is love, you have to have that communication. Why I feel like our parents was like, you're the kid, I'm the adult. So what I say go, and you don't really know anything.
yeah. My dad used to say, oh, you'll thank me when I'm older. And I'm not gonna lie, up until last year, I was like, I ain't thanking you. And then this year, I was like, do you know what? I hear it, Dad. Like, I actually understand the challenges you're going through. And I guess talking to you guys, I understand a lot more the challenges that you guys face as parents, because it's all my world, right? And as parents, as kids, it's all about us, but we don't actually realize what our parents go through. So just taking it back a bit, I think you mentioned around people having to fight to see their kids. Have any of you had those challenges? I know you touched on navigating it and how you overcome it, but is there anything more you wanted to share on that as well?
So when my ex and I first separated, we were actually co-parenting very well. But because we were managing the complications of our own personal relationship, to break down at that, me looking at it from a non-biased view, there's no way we could have come in contact with the kids without her and I coming into contact. And she needed that space. That's for me looking at it from a subjective view. But however, at the time, I couldn't see it that way. In terms, I just saw it as you're keeping me away from my kids. So obviously the process is trying to negotiate with the other person. They go through mediation and then going to the courts, and we did actually end up going to the courts.
How long were you like away from them for?
I'll say 7 to 8 months in total.
No.
So it was like going from seeing them every day, putting them to bed and all of that, all of the in-betweens, getting them ready for nursery and stuff like that, to just absolute nothing.
Like complete, like not seeing them at all?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hard. And I said that's why it comes down to coming to a place where your kids is either something to live for or something to die for. So I went through a period where I was really in a bad place. I was back home at my mom's, and even though you're surrounded, you know that feeling where you're surrounded with people, but in the same breath you're also very, very lonely. So the presence of people doesn't actually mean anything. So when it got to that point, there was one day it was just like losing my life seemed like the best option. However, they also presented a reason to live for, and they were my reason to live for. So I was just like, I'm living. I had no other choice but to live because of them, if that makes sense. I did whatever I needed to do in order to get.
How old were your kids at the time?
So they were also COVID babies. The twins were COVID babies. So they will have been at least 1 or 2. No, we did 1. I think we're separated by the time they were 1. So 1 or 2.
What was it like when you first saw them? Did your relationship change at all? Like, did you have to build anything back or?
So I remember that taking me back to the first day I saw them after that whole long period.
Yeah.
So we went to soft play, and I was just there, just looking
Big up soft plates.
looking out the window, like, are they gonna turn up? Are they gonna turn up? And they turned up with my mother-in-law at the time, and it was almost like, to them, whilst there had been time, it was almost like there was no time at all.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like, when they last saw me, I had dreads. I didn't have dreads when they saw me. It's like, oh, the boy twins. It's like, oh, daddy, you cut your hair. I like your hair. And then he gave me a hug afterwards, and I was just like, I didn't know this. I didn't know this.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a beautiful feeling.
That's very nice. Because I'm glad that you was able to have that feeling. I'm actually just jealous hearing of the emotional side of things, like the affection that you have for your kids, but also just the fact that you felt that way, like you said, something to live for, to die for. And again, when you say that, it makes you question, why do you think people don't have that feeling where they want to feel like they can die for their kids? What's missing?
I think because you have to then wait on the population of men that never wanted kids from the get-go. So for them, because they never wanted kids, if the woman decides not to get an abortion or decides not to go down the route of having the full care of that child, it's almost like they almost don't have that burden, for lack of better words. They don't have that responsibility as in, okay, yeah, this is my child and I'm going to be there, because they've communicated or not communicated, or they had some sort of unspoken arrangement that they weren't going to have kids, or kids was never on the table. So there's that population of men as well that don't want kids.
Yeah, I know they exist. I don't get it, but I know they exist. I don't get it in the slightest. Like, for me, even if I didn't want a kid, then if I ended up having one, I couldn't see myself just being absent. I think like that would just mess my head up, and I would be thinking about them all the time.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't get it in the slightest, but I know there are some. There will. Let's give it a roll.
It is scary. I remember I worked with a guy like 10 years ago, and the woman trapped him, but his full process was like, fuck that woman and fuck that baby. That's how that baby does nothing to you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Whoa.
The baby didn't do anything to you.
Whoa. Not even just the baby, his baby. My gosh.
And it's just worrying. I don't know what we need to do and what as men to kind of change that. But like you said, some guys just don't want babies, and they don't have to be tied down to it. So if you get away with it, some guys will try to get away with it, isn't it?
They are getting away with it.
Yeah, they are.
They're legit getting away with it.
Let's see what
No, but they shouldn't have to. If I was a chick, yeah, and you had a baby, we're gonna get child maintenance. You don't even have to be there, but you're gonna have to contribute to this baby in some way, shape, or form.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they shouldn't have to get away with it. In the obviously, emotional deposits are based on the dad itself, but you're gonna support me in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, I think we need our women to demand more from our men and hit them where it hurts somehow.
Yeah, no, although that is 100% true, it's a very sticky and tricky situation.
Because some people do too much.
Yeah,
Yes, some people do too much.
And
Yes.
there's loads of men that aren't able to see their kids want to, but are still having to pay because it's been said that they're doing all sorts X, Y, and Z, and they're not even. Like, and they're still just trying to see the kids, and they're just being extorted until sometimes after the kids even past 18 as well. So that there's a lot going on around that as well. There's not a lot legally that fathers can do, and there's not a lot to support dads in the system as well.
Yeah.
So there's a flip side to that. I hear it, and like, because I know so many dads that are also like in the other side of that situation, I hear child support, and yeah, I just there's
What's
nuance to
on
it.
child support? Okay, I gave child support. I gave child support before she even took me to child support.
Okay, so what's my position on it? Like, I mean, I get why it's there, and I think that it's important. So I definitely want to say that I don't have to because of the situation that I'm in as a father. But I just think there's a lot more nuance around it, and it needs a bit more investigation. To be honest.
In what sense?
Because fathers don't have a lot of rights,
I agree.
and they need more rights.
Yeah, I agree.
Like if they want dads to be the parents that everyone talks about them to be, or like have as much influence as the mums and all of that stuff, then they need equally the same amount of rights as well.
But
Like,
dads can demand that. I think that's what
no, they're losing left, right, and centre. They can't just demand it.
You need to go to court. That's what I had to
They're
do.
going to court and they're losing
Yeah.
On what? But on what merit?
all sorts.
For me, I was same way. I'm not trying to downplay other people's situations, but for me, I was also told I was gonna lose. I was told so many different things, and I was just like, okay, if I'm gonna lose, then I'm gonna lose, and I'm gonna go. But unless there's any safeguarding stuff to the woman or to the child, there's no reason why you shouldn't be given some sort of grace. And child support, I think, if you look at it from the sense that, okay, I'm just giving her money every month and she's spending it how she wants, but naturally some of those expenses will overlap because your children and their mum live in the same place. They're gonna eat food in the same house.
Yeah, it's definitely
so
important.
If you see it as, okay, it's just one of those expenses that overlap, there it might not burn as much, but yeah, it is difficult. It is very nuanced for different individuals.
I think, yeah, like you said, it's not equal because even when you think about paternity leave, even that's different.
Yeah. What's they get like 2 weeks or something?
Just get 2 weeks and
2 weeks.
Like what is that?
To do.
You're meant to bond with your newborn baby for 2 weeks and then be like, oh, in peace, mate.
I wanted to just take it back a bit because you are a different. I don't say different.
Yeah,
I've never heard of this before. What did you say?
Yeah.
Oh
No,
no,
I don't know, yeah.
father. How is that working out for you? And like, how has it been?
Hey, so you know what? Yeah, it started off. It started off difficult, and the reason why that was is because there was no rule book for any of us. Like we didn't know how the exact balance of how that should work. So with that came challenges. But to be honest with you, once we got past that and with a lot of conversation, and at no point was I ever not allowed to see them. Once we got past that, it's been smooth sailing, to be honest with you. And I'm probably in like the position that loads of guys want to be in. They don't have to like fork out everything, but they still get to see their kids, and they like obviously when they're with me, like I'm not asking, oh mums, can you give me some money for this? Like it's all me kind of thing. But so I know I'm in like a great situation and in that respect. But it came with its challenges. But it's actually alright, mate.
It looks like you chose the right woman, or you chose the right women to have that kind of partnership with.
Yeah. I mean, one of which I grew up with, so I've known since I was like 8 years old. So like, and we had been speaking about it since we were kids growing up as well. So like, it's just come to be kind of thing.
And how old did you say they were then?
But my kids,
Yeah.
they're 5.
5, exciting.
Yeah. I know, 5.
We definitely have to have you back on in like 5 years time, 10 years time. Just to see what I've learned of this before as well. So obviously you guys have been fathers for a long time. What's the toughest part about fatherhood that surprised you? And obviously people warn me about fatherhood, but what's something that just caught you off guard? Like, I just did not know about that.
You meet a new version of yourself.
Ooh.
So naturally, when you're in a relationship with someone, you meet. So let's say, for instance, when you're single, there's a single version of yourself, and there's the engaged version of yourself, and then if you're married, the married version, and then there's the father who then has other responsibilities as well. You meet a new version of yourself, and then your kids are constantly calling out different things that remain hidden until that exact point when they call it out. So let's say, for instance, so my twins, so the girl twin, she's very, very confident. She calls out everything and anything. The boy twin, he's more reserved. He comes into a room, he analyzes, and then he gets comfortable. The girl twin, she's most likely to call it out as it is. She'll be like, oh yeah, but you said this, or but you did this, you said this, you said you did this. So it's that little person who you feel shouldn't be telling you anything, who's gonna call out certain aspects and be like, oh, actually, yeah, you need to fix that. So I would say having a child, that's one of those things that caught me off guard. It's having a younger person that always check you all the time.
That's hilarious. And the best thing that surprised you about COVID?
I want to say one of the most beautiful things is just seeing them develop. It's like you see this person who is a baby, and then all of a sudden they're reading stories to you, or they're telling you gist from school in their classroom, or they're telling you this or that, or just their perspective on certain things. I think that's the most beautiful thing.
That's great, thank you.
I think for me,
Sorry, the worst, the toughest, and then the best.
Oh, the toughest. I feel like, because, okay, my daughter is a mini version of me. So that could be coming, that's mad too, because she's literally a mini version of me. So when you're dealing with yourself, that's the toughest part of it. I think the best part of it for fatherhood is the fact of, again, my kids have got my percentage, but they've got like my sister and my brother Latif. My daughter's got their personality. And then my son's more my other brother's personality, even though including mixed with my person. So the best thing about it is just knowing to have a village to help you deal with the children's personality. And sometimes I'm like, okay, call your uncle, stuff like that. But it doesn't all weigh on my shoulder. So that's a very good thing, because sometimes there's some things I'm not good at speaking about. But they've always got my siblings who would be more likely interested to talk about stuff and stuff. I feel like that pretense of you understand what they're talking about, it still goes back to the same element later on when you're doing the same thing. Why? When you get someone who actually knows what they're talking about, it grows up and gives it a level head that they've got someone to speak to, because you're not always going to have the answer or be the best person. Sorry, my throat. Be the best person to talk about something with, especially now when you say something wrong. They can think you mean it in a bad way, but it's not that. You just don't understand.
Yeah, that's true. I know that I always see T on your Snapchat, and the T Snapchats, and when you go to Butlins and all that, it looks so sick. I was like, I wish I could just tag along, just be part of the Better family for a day. But who knows? I'll do my own family. What about you? The toughest part and the best part?
The toughest part was probably acknowledging that what I'm going through and my emotions mean nothing in this situation. I need to just be who I need to be for them, and like truly it means nothing. Like it doesn't matter what you're going through that day. You just need to like sort that out, keep that on the back burner, and actually deal with your kids in a nice way, and so on and so forth. That's probably been one of the hardest ones. I knew it was true, and I knew it was like something I needed to do, but when you actually are going through something and you actually have to put it aside, that's another story. That's probably been one of the hardest parts. And the best parts, actually I was going to think of something else, but even like to back off that part, is when you're going through those hard parts and then you just put that aside and you see them, and then they say something, or they smile, or they do something, and then that thing don't even matter anymore. So it's like, although it's like it can be hard in those situations, it's beautiful too. Yeah.
Nice. I'm not gonna lie, you guys are gassing me. So in 9 months' time, yeah, there's no, it's because of this episode. I mean, look, we've had some really, really good discussion points today, because we touched on, what it means to be a father, co-parenting, the challenges, the ups, the downs. But the one thing that I've learned from you guys is there's no manual. There's no easy or prescribed way to do things. You just kind of go with the flow and have to learn and be involved and be emotionally engaged, which is something which I think I can see that you guys are all doing, and credit to you guys. I think we've kind of almost, I don't want to say dispelled the narrative, but when I guess speaking to you guys, I think all of you guys and your friends, you're all active parents as well. And when I think about it, even the guys that I know that have kids are actually active parents. So this stereotype probably needs to dial back a bit, and we need to understand why it's still being pushed. Probably because of some, I like my conspiracies and government narrative that wants to break the back home and stuff and all that. But what I do like is that you guys are breaking that mold, and you are challenging that, and we're doing well as parents. And and good luck to you guys and your kids as well. So I think we're getting towards the wrap up of our episode today. So the one question is, for those of you guys with sons, or will have sons in the future, what is a lesson that you will try to instill in your sons so that they may encourage and help them not become participants in the narrative?
Oh, me. I tell my son now, don't have kids with multiple women. Just stick with one, because I feel like the love you could give to your kids, if they're different, it's harder. Because if you do one for one, another one might take it that you don't love the other one due to the fact. But meanwhile, it's not that. It's what you've asked for at that precise moment in time, or what the child needs at that precise moment in time. As I said earlier, everybody's got different strengths and different weaknesses. And then also I always try to help him understand, like, being a man, a woman, not all women by the way, so we're not bashing women, but a woman necessarily leaves their parents' house and then goes to man, and a man looks after a woman. But obviously in society it doesn't happen all the time like that. Why with my son I just tell him that you need to figure out yourself and know what you want, and for him to be a better man than me, but also not make the same mistakes as me. So that clarity, 'cause I felt like my dad, my granddad, my great granddad, probably his whole generation, they've all got kids. Even with my mum too, they've all got kids. Their dads have got kids with different people. So I think that's something that I feel like I would love to break in our generation in general. I've still got my 2 brothers who haven't got kids, so maybe they're the ones who are going to break it.
What about you?
Yeah, I don't have any sons, but I would like more kids. I think though that I wouldn't teach my son anything different than I would teach my daughters. I think that it's about being a well-balanced individual, and if you are that and you are trying to be a good person as a whole, then you will do the best for those you love and those around you.
Yeah.
Yeah, off of the back of that, I guess for me, it's, I guess they're all being raised the same, but more so for my son particularly, just making sure, because obviously the narrative is men develop slower than women, so it's just pretty much those years where you want to be seen, where you want to be known, you want to be, okay, yeah, this is what I can do, but just installing that confidence, that self-esteem from a very, very young age, so you don't feel that they need to be performative, if that makes sense.
Wow. Guys, thank you for joining the conversation today. It was very insightful, especially for me as the future father. I hope you guys enjoyed the panels that we brought on. It was really, really actually nice conversing with you guys as well. A massive shout out to the fathers as well that are actually doing a great job. One last time from all of us, thank you for watching and continue to support Small Chat.